I'll be live in a second. You know what's happening, dude?
Yep.
So I just moved a bunch of things back into my office this morning, so I'm realizing how many things are like disjointed. That's what happened because I had to change my office for like a month, and I moved it into the bedroom.
Okay.
So there's all this stuff going on where I'm like, oh no, this camera's no longer set up, and then it's annoying. But okay, and I think we're live.
All right.
How's everybody doing?
How's everyone doing? Well, me personally, I don't know. I'm kind of like in this strange place. I paid off my student loan debt, and I'm kind of in this part-time job, and now I I don't really want to be in the. I'm starting to not like being in the part-time job anymore, which is kind of sad because it's like because like over time I've spent some time with the children at my part time job,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like some of them are like they're decent kids that I've like I don't like it's I don't want to say like I build a bond with those kids because like it's like they're not really my friends, they're kids. I'm 25 years old. What kind of it'd be kind of sad like if you were like a 25-year-old man and your kid, your friends are essentially kids who are still in elementary school. But it's like over time, I've gotten to know them. I've gotten to talk to them. I've gotten to I've managed to like get a gift from one of them, and the fact that I am thinking of like leaving that behind. It's sad, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. When you say you got like they gave you like a cute little Christmas gift or something?
No, no. I think last year, basically, I think I don't want to dox any of them. Like I don't want to like. There's just like little Chinese girl. Let's call her Olive. Olive, like from Popeye, but more
Mm,
tinier.
yeah.
Okay.
Olive oil? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, her mom gave me like a gift
Hmm.
card, and it had a note that said "Thank you for watching over me."
Oh, that's sweet.
And basically I used that gift card to
Yeah.
buy a like Frank Frazetta book.
Oh, which Frazetta book?
Give me a second. It's in my bookshelf. Give me a second.
Sure, sure.
Okay, it says here the fantastic paintings of Frank Frazetta. The
So
fanta-
it's yeah, it's a collection of all his painted work, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's a collection of all of everything he's done. I think for I'm not sure about everything he's done, but I think he's done some work for I think of course Conan. He's done some work for Michael Moorcock. He's done some work for Playboy. He's done some work for essentially pulp magazines. Quite frankly, I'm looking through it now. It's still it's still great. It's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know Frazetta very well. He's like my favorite. The work he did. I mean, so interesting about Frazetta is that he's known largely for his paintings, but his favorite medium to work in was actually pen and ink, which I always find funny.
Yeah, yeah, comic books.
Yeah, yeah. That was apparently where he got his start. Um, but it's hard to imagine that when he's so known for his paintings. It's like, um, but and I think that's one of the reasons that also for everyone in the chat, I know that my screen is not visible yet. I'm trying to get find a file. Is
Hi.
that your
So
phone?
give me a second. My mother is calling me. Give me a second. I'm sorry about this.
It's super loud. Here, I'm gonna mute him for a bit, guys, so that nobody's listening to his private phone call. That's me, guys.
Apologies. Yeah, that was my mom.
It's all right. You never have to apologize for taking a call from your mom. Excuse me. I've had phone calls in the middle of streams. It's not a big deal.
All right, all right.
Everything okay?
I mean, like I said, it's like it's the transition, like from one job to another. I didn't quit yet, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's it's kind of like in essence a bit frustrating because like it's like I paid off my student loan debt. I got
Mm-hmm.
everything out the way, and yet I still have to essentially kind of like spend a couple more years working in a place that does not really you know match like what I would like to do or the degree that I have, which is obviously in cartooning or illustration. I think though apart from that, things have been all right. I mean I went to Lightbox recently. It's I met Kyle. I met some other people from David Pose's stream. That was
Oh, how is Kyle?
I think yeah he's doing great. I think
I
he's
have never met him in person.
yeah I met him in person at Lightbox. He's a pretty decent person. Pretty decent person.
Is he as dreamy as I imagined?
That and
Kyle,
more.
if you're there.
All
Yeah,
that
he's
and
added
more.
more.
All that
Yeah,
and
it's
more.
good.
Yeah.
I'm thinking a lot about having a Kyle Martin shrine in my home with candles and maybe like a collection of doll heads.
With some human hair, and pictures of him while
Yeah.
when he's with his family.
Well, if the next time you're with him, if you could get some of his hair, that actually would be great.
I'll consider that. I'll consider that.
Yeah, I know. It's a lot to ask. I know, but I can make it worth your while. Also, Kyle, if you want to send me some of your hair, that's fine. Watch, this is how I get my channel taken down. Is this stupid ironic joke that's gonna like ruin my whole thing?
Yeah, that
Listen, I said
that
what I said. All right, I said what I said. Internet, I don't care.
you hear that FBI?
Take that, feds. So,
Hope
guys,
you're watching, Fetty Man.
the reason I'm not currently drawing and instead I have a starting screen set up is because I'm waiting for this one file to upload to Google to my iCloud so I can bring it into Clip Studio from Procreate to keep working on it, and it's taking forever because it's like 6,000 pixels and like 600 DPI because I seem to be wanting my computer to crash with the size of these files. I don't know what I'm doing here, guys. Oh man, yeah. So you're debating like whether or not you should leave, or is it more like that you're going to leave this job and you're not sure how to do it gracefully?
I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna leave this job. I just need I've been trying to become a para for like not for a while. Like it's been my efforts have been a bit on and off because like it's like trying to become a para in like the New York State. It's like there's only openings twice a year, and it's in basically just I went to a hiring event. I couldn't get for some reason like I wasn't nominated, so things didn't exactly pan out. I tried. I work at a school. My site is at a school, so
Hmm.
I tried like going to the principal. He things didn't exactly like he said that the budget wasn't there. So yeah I'm just trying to like set up something and then move on. I
Yeah.
mean it's like being a pair is a bit of a stressful job, but like in the end it's like you know I feel like I don't really think I work all that well in like that corporate environment. Also the I think the the time the hours are better because like it's from 8 to 2, and from then I could basically it's like a from 2 I could basically just leave and have I think at least 8 more hours to myself,
Whoa.
and I could maybe see a therapist like my sister's been telling me to do, or maybe I can invest in in more time in more mentorships, or I can finally learn like take some MMA classes like I always wanted to do.
So if I were you, I know you're not necessarily asking for advice, but if I were you, I would prioritize the MMA classes over the therapy personally. Nothing. I'm not. I don't mean to be down on therapy. I know it's helped a lot of people, but for a lot of guys, I think doing like MMA and learning how to fight and box and work out, like all that is, I think, in terms of like immediate improvement of your life, I think it's really really effective.
Okay.
And as someone who I mean, this is I can only speak from my personal experience and people I know, so it's all anecdotal. Keep that in mind. But like
Mm.
I've friends of mine who've done both have like been like, man, I should have been doing this years ago. Um, and like I did therapy briefly, and it was like there were some things that helped me with, but then for me nothing was as effective for getting me out of my head and into like something else than like physical exertion and like learning a martial art. It's great, man. And like based on what little I know of you, I think that getting out of your head is probably something you have a hard time doing. You seem like someone who thinks a lot to the
Yeah.
point where it like holds you back. So I would say something that because people don't realize until they've done it, but like martial arts is meditation to a large extent. Um, it forces you like you can't be overly introspective and obsessed with your own problems, real or imagined, if you're like in the middle of sparring or like grappling because your biggest problem is right in front of you. And
Mm-hmm.
how great is that?
Yeah, my
Like what a
big
great
yeah, sorry, but like I think it's
no.
funny. It's like my biggest problem is it's kind of like a 45-year-old man with a brown belt and dad strength.
Yeah, exactly. um yeah, that is because you mentioned all those things. I was like, oh yeah, therapy's fine, whatever. But and some guys love it, but I can only speak as like from a male perspective. That's why I'm saying guys, because I know some women love therapy. I know and some guys like it too, but I just know a lot of guys who've done it and been like, yeah, this actually didn't really help so much because I don't know that it helps everybody to talk as much as it can be to just like stop thinking about it. I know that sounds like denial, but it's like um, I think sometimes we get into this culture where people are like, it's like I think a lot of people, a lot of young people, they're kind of encouraged to think heavily in a way that can be very circular. You get like you think a negative thought and then you think about the negative thought and then you think about how you think about the negative thought, and then therapy is like can be for some people it's like you meditate on how you think, and for a fair amount of people it's like maybe you just need to stop thinking about certain things for a while and take some time off from the thought itself that's leading you down that road, and I love what physical activity does for that. It's so great. It's like my favorite thing is to go and box and just like get hit a little bit. Really, I know I'm not advertising it well because it's talking about getting hit, but you get what I'm saying.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, I feel like I've been I think I have the biggest problem that I have. I feel is with I think just confidence, like basically just there were there are days where like it's like where I don't know I feel like I don't know I am at work. It happens at work where essentially like I easily just forget shit, and I forget things or things slip my mind, and I
Hmm.
think there was a day where essentially like I was in charge of like going to the storage closet and getting some supplies for the kids, and
Mm-hmm.
essentially, you know, a mom accidentally opened the wrong door and the alarm went off, and basically I was basically just like I had to look for the keys as the alarm went off, and I couldn't find them. And in mid search, I stopped at the teacher's lounge, and I kept on thinking of like the last place I found the keys, and I was like close. I was bordering on a panic attack. So it's also I
Mm.
think I've heard I feel like I know that overthinking is bad for me, but I feel like if I feel like I didn't exactly think at all during
Mm-hmm.
that event, and I feel like it's like obviously if I just feel like I'm kind of like I feel like I'm in this like rough spot where it's like if I overthink, I'm screwed, but if I don't overthink, I'm even more screwed. So it's like finding a balance
Well,
between different.
well, yeah. When I talk about overthinking, I'm talking about. I think for me, the way I would define overthinking is thinking that is circular or leads to inaction. Like you're thinking so much, you literally don't take action. That's what overthinking is. It doesn't mean you're thinking too much all the time, and that you should generally think less. It's more like, and this is just again from my own experience, but like identifying thoughts that are just not useful and they're just causing you to think in circles or to wallow in negativity,
Mm.
and like that doesn't mean that people should think less overall, because obviously, thinking is good, we like it. But yeah, I would say that's a huge part of it, is like understanding which thoughts are actually helping you and which ones are just like, just bullshit that's just getting in the way.
Mm.
Like honestly, like um and that's been a huge distinction. I don't know. There was a point in my life maybe where I was an overthinker. I don't really remember. Now it's like I do find it a lot easier to just be like, well, this thought is not useful, and I'm just done with it, and I'm gonna just move on, and then I'll come back to it later when I can actually make some a dent in this problem or something. But I think that's also one of the reasons people have trouble sleeping. They perseverate on certain things. Perseveration, that's a big one. That's a good word to learn. I learned that in my old job when I was working with special needs kids.
Mm.
They perseverate. They think about the same thing over and over, and it causes like anxiety and because I was working on with kids who were heavily on the spectrum, and that was like a big problem. Was like, yeah, like you can't mention tandoori chicken around this one kid or he'll perseverate.
Hello.
This is what you were talking about when you're done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You cut off. You cut off. You cut off.
Where? When?
I think when you mentioned tandoori chicken.
That there's a just that there was a kid I used to work with who would if you mentioned tandoori chicken around him, he would obsess over it. That's all. Like he would just keep repeating tandoori chicken. He would just want it over and over. Um, and so they were like, you can't bring up tandoori chicken around. I was defining perseveration as really what was happening. That's all. But I wanted to ask you something.
Mm.
So you said the last time you were on, there were things you wanted to talk about you didn't get to.
Oh
So I'd
yeah,
love to, yeah, please jump into those subjects.
yeah. Okay, so basically just for I think kickstarted like
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking into my goal, like a goal of mine is to essentially kind of like make an art book, like and you've essentially kind of like self-published many graphic novels throughout your career as a comic book artist. Like
I wouldn't say many. I've done a couple with varying success, but I think I hit a stride recently where it's getting better. But I wouldn't say I've done many. I don't want to be a tall poppy. But yeah, sorry, go on.
okay, what were challenges that you faced when you were kind of like crowdfunding your books? Because I think what I've I recently went to a recently I'm in a mentorship with Anthony Chong Jones, and he's essentially kind of making plans to make an art book. And for the first time, he like tried kickstarting, it didn't exactly like go well for him.
What went wrong with his Kickstarter? Do we know?
Well, I think he tried doing it. I think well, one thing is like he tried he I think a lot of shipping issues, a lot of lot like I think he tried doing like a big Kickstarter on a macro scale. Like he tried like shipping overseas on his first one. It didn't exactly, like a lot of like unforeseen expenses were
Sure. Yeah.
were popping
Um,
up.
yeah, I would say so. Okay, some challenges I faced. One was that I'm really, really bad at math, and you have to calculate expenses. So that was something that really stressed me out a lot in the beginning, and I had to have all these conversations. I kept calling. So I use this place called Comics Wellspring, and I recommend them. They're over in Michigan. They're domestic, so
Mm.
that's one of the reasons that I went with them, is I wanted to go with an American company. I think a lot of people face problems because they try to save a lot of, and it probably does save a lot of money. But like if they're doing a hardcover, they'll do parts of it shipped out, like printed in China,
Mm.
because they have really high quality prints in China, printing presses, and so they'll do hardcovers there, and then they'll assemble it. I mean, Dan did this with his Kickstarter, where he'll like assemble it domestically once the covers are printed, and then it's a lot of stuff. The more steps you add, the more things that can go wrong, because it's just more steps.
Mm.
Um, so I purposefully wanted it to be as simple as possible. So I instead worked with an American printer, and probably ended up paying more money because of just the general price. But for me, it was worth it for that peace of mind. And I The Comics Wellspring is great because they answered the phone when I called. Like they have a great customer service line. That's just this woman who I'm on first name basis with her, because I called her like every freaking day with questions, and she was super nice, just like super nice Midwestern. Although is Michigan the Midwest? My geography is terrible. Um, let's say that it is. Let's say that she's a nice lady. um, and she was like,
I think it is Midwestern. It says here in Google,
good.
Michigan's a peninsular state in the Great Lakes region of the Upper Midwestern United States.
Okay, thank you. Mystery solved. Everybody back to your places. Um, yeah, so I don't like this ponytail on this chick. The 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 many phone calls I had with this woman, and the amount of questions I had, she never lost patience. She was super nice, and she helped me understand how the shipping expense works, and what the best, and like, yeah, I would ask her questions like, is this the correct price? I want to make it fair, but I also want to make sure I earn a profit. Otherwise, like, what's the point of doing all this work if I'm not going to support myself with my art? Um, and it worked out because I try to do this thing where I try to make everything as simple as possible. I literally, like, it's not about cutting corners. It's like reducing any unnecessary complexity, so that when you can master the first step of it, which is just having a Kickstarter that earns some money and that gets your book out there, with the knowledge that the next Kickstarter, I'm going to add a little more complexity. I'm going to be like, okay, next Kickstarter, I'm going to do multiple books in the Kicks, like, you can order book one or book two, because I'll be on book two of Black Barrel.
Mm.
Then I can deal with like what it's like to have multiple more levels of tiers and all that stuff. So that also, I want to quickly address the chat. Madara, also known as Comic Book Inking, he's having problems with the stream. He says it's lagging. Is anyone else having an issue? Eric, are you having an issue? Anyone else? Any of you lurkers? Is there a problem with lag? Let me know, because I'm only hearing it from one person, and I know he's over in Scotland, so maybe that's why. Um, oh, well, I'm getting a call. It's funny that we both have the same ringtones. It's hey, you wouldn't believe this. The person calling me is my mother. That's funny.
Uh,
Um, but I'm gonna call her back afterwards. But yeah, so that's one thing. Making it simple. Learning the cost, the overhead, and all that stuff. Um, and then um, I would say advertising, getting people over to the place is getting people over to the Kickstarter is another issue that you're going to face. For me, um, what really helped, and also, am I answering the questions you wanted, or am I
yeah,
rambling?
yeah, of course. It just like
Um, for me, like, so you got to find, because here's what a lot of people do. They start advertising and they try to find their audience along the way, and that could work. That's fine. For me, I already kind of had a little bit of a built-in audience because people were waiting for this comic for a long time.
hmm,
Um, so because it kept getting delayed and all this stuff was happening, so by the time I launched the Kickstarter, there were these like ravenous, a small fan base, but they were like really, like they were like, oh, finally, yes, let's get, and they bought it day one, so it reached. So that was something I did was I identified where the audience was. So my YouTube channel was really young at the time, and I didn't really have many people on YouTube. So I did advertise a bit on YouTube, but with streams and all that stuff. But the thing is, my audience was so small that everybody who was a fan of of my work on YouTube already had bought the book in the first few days.
hmm,
So then most of my advertising switched to Instagram because that's where I have a big audience. Like I have like I mean big for me relative to it's like it was at the time it was only like 6,000 people, but that for me is a lot. And of those 6,000, a very small portion had backed the book on day one. So I was like, okay, there's a lot of people here who haven't bought it, who see my work, haven't spent money on it, and either they can't for whatever reason or they're just not interested. If it's a matter of interest, I can get them interested by showing some fun advertising. So I started putting together my own stuff, and now I can edit my own videos. So now I'm like really excited for book two because um, I'm going to be pushing it pretty hard. But I so identified the audience that I have is mostly on Instagram. Um, so then I was just like, okay, I'm going to keep hitting the Instagram button over and over, like just keep sending everything I can there because you can't, worry about annoying people with your advertising because most of the people are seeing one out of every like 5 posts that you do, unless they're like really, really actively following you.
hmm,
So that was one thing. And then I also realized that I realized early on that Kickstarter really, really prefers and assists projects that reach their goal really early on. So because then they're like, oh, this must be a great project because everybody backed it day one. So then I made it simple and I made it small. I was like, day one, I'm going to have a small goal, and if so that I can be certain that it's going to hit that goal on day one.
hmm.
And it did. And then because it did, the Kickstarter amped up the support for it and started showing it to more people. It's like, hey, this project hit its goal on day one. Isn't that cool? And I can boast, and now then I could boast that in the advertising, like, hey, this book hit its goal day one. Doesn't that mean it's really good? Aren't you curious? Aren't you curious about this book because it hit its goal so early? You just things like that you got to imagine the point of view of somebody who's hit with so much advertising on social media and think about what you can do to like set yourself apart from the other people. And the thing I kept saying in my advertising on Kickstarter was this book is already done. It's already done. It's not going to be one of those comics because comics on Kickstarter are famous for that of like, oh yeah, we finished it or we finished it and it was a year after the campaign was backed, and now everybody's gonna and now by the time you get the comic you don't even remember backing it, um, so that was one thing again that I was very clear about in the advertising. I was like, this comic is already drawn. Like, you don't have to worry. I'm not going to like run away with your money, and you're not going to have to wait 18 months for a 20-page comic. Instead, it's 80 something pages and it's done. It's completely done. It's locked and loaded. It's ready to go. All I need is, customer support so I can get it to them. And that ended up being a major winning stroke for me because a lot of people who bought it commented on the fact that it was already done and that they had their copy within like 3 months because that's how long it took to print it out. That many copies. It took about two months and change. I think it took 3 months for the final people to get their copies, but generally, yeah, it was like 2 months. Yeah, yeah, and then I didn't run into, and the only issues I ran into with shipping was that there was like a snowstorm in Michigan, and they were like, sorry, we're gonna have to delay the shipment of these because we're like snowed in for 2 days and we literally couldn't get any products out. And I was like, well, that's understandable. It's not your fault. But beyond that, it was pretty simple, and and I'm going to try to keep book 2 just as simple if I can. I mean, there's things I have to do to make it more complicated because there's a bigger fan base now. But yeah, simplicity, simplicity. Um, because you just imagine there's going to be so many stressful things that pop up you're not even going to think about, and so you want to prepare for those things by softening the cushion with the other stuff and making sure you're not overwhelming yourself. Because now I'm way more confident going into book 2 on Kickstarter. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what to do now.
Hmm.
And now I can imagine, I can foresee what issues might occur, you know? So that's the most thorough answer I can give on the outset to your question, but I'm interested in what else you have to ask.
All right. I think. Okay, so I think for years, I've I think I've been kind of interested in like the comic book industry, and like so far, the
Mm-hmm.
more I learned about it, the more kind of like the more exploitative it can be, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's like people like the employees inherent in that industry already know this, and it just feels like that they're kind of like they're not exactly kind of making any proactive moves to kind of like help themselves. They're just like I think they're basically just like fighting with people on Twitter. Is that like
Mm-hmm.
a is that like a mistake that you see
To Yeah,
people in your
go ahead.
camp
Sorry.
do? Is that a mistake that people in your camp do? When I because like I understand like basically having like say differing political views. Like I feel like you and I kind of like I'm more on like the kind of like left side, and you're more on like the center, possibly right side. But I feel like it's like the lack of professionalism and like agreeing to disagree is I think hindering professionals in the industry more than helping. Is that something that you agree with or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, and in general, the otherization culture is terrible for everything. It's not. It's bad for it. Literally bad for everything to think that anybody who disagrees with you is evil on any. And granted, there are some people that are really extreme on both sides, but generally, like, um, it's also really funny that you think I'm on the right. I don't even know where.
Really?
I don't really know. I mean, I consider myself pretty open to like every idea that I hear. Like I have most of my friends and my wife and everybody, they're very far left. Um,
Okay. I thought because like
yeah,
basically like I think I made the assumption that you were kind of like on the right because like you talked to a person who was like very much like open with his conservative beliefs.
yeah, and so that's actually so I actually spoke to Gigi, friend of the channel, Gross Girl, had actually talked to me after that. She was like, "I'm really surprised you had him on." I was like, "Why?" Like I can disagree with him on something. It was like shocking to her. Um,
Oh,
because she's a Californian. But no, it's really because I generally like I have friends on the left who say a bunch of stuff that I disagree with, and then it's like this guy, even I don't know if you remember, but he actually brought up. He started. Well, actually, I cut it out of the final stream, but he started talking about Donald Trump, and he started invoking some like very specific political stuff, and I edited out of the final video because I was like, I don't want like I'm okay to brush upon political stuff, I guess, but generally I don't want to talk about it that much because it's just like not like we're already inundated with that stuff every day all the time, and that it's like I don't want people from any side of the political spectrum to think that they can't like that I have a problem with them based on their beliefs, because I honestly think every single aspect of politics and ideology is so complicated that there's a lot of different points of view that are constantly in motion, and many of them are quite defensible, and and some of them aren't, and we know who those are. But like, yeah, I would say going back to your original question, the inability to separate your like a person's personal politics from the quality of the person is a problem. And again, there's a spectrum, right? There's people that are like have beliefs that we can all agree are like pretty bad, but there's a lot of people that have like differences of opinion on subjects that are extremely complicated, and we can imagine what those are. We don't have to be explicit, and it's like because of that, I'm not going to negate a person's humanity and treat them like they're some kind of monster because they have a different perspective on a subject in which my opinion has changed multiple times. You know, like my opinion, I've gone back and forth with my own beliefs because that's what happens when you grow as a person. You change your beliefs, and then you change back, or then you think about this, and then So yeah, I have people on that are, I mean, like Dan Warren, who's been on the channel many, many times. He's also someone who doesn't really talk about politics very much, And like I know his politics. I mean, I get a sense of them. He's like he's. I mean, he would probably openly say he's pretty progressive, but he and I don't argue politics. Not and also I don't know that we would because I don't even know what we would even disagree on. But like the thing is, people need to remember you are not your political opinion. Like that's not the substance of you as a person. That's not the beginning and end of what you are. You are not who you voted for in the last election. That's a part. There's a part of who you are is what you believe. But like I think, and in a professional setting, it's absurd. Like how
Mm.
many people. I mean, I think I talked about it on the Discord. Somebody asked like about deadlines and artists being able to work at a reasonable speed and why they and it's like, well, half the time it's because I think some of these guys they spend all day on freaking Twitter just like arguing with people, and it's like, what are you doing?
Well, Sean Gordon Murphy talks about this all the time.
Yeah, he even, I mean, yeah, I actually loved what he said about it. He was even calling out friends of his. I forgot the name of the guy who does the covers, who's famous for painting covers.
Mark
um
Brooks.
yeah, Mark Brooks. Yeah, Sean Murphy talks about Mark Brooks, and he's like, I love Mark's a good guy. I also make fun of Mark because he's like constantly like antagonizing conservative on social media, and he's like, bro, with the amount of time you spend doing this, you could do so much work. You could get so much more work done and probably haven't even, I mean, he already has a pretty good career, Mark Brooks, but like he could have a much better career, and instead it's just like he enjoys arguing with people. It's also just silly because it's like, what benefit is there to arguing on Twitter? Like, you're not going to change anybody's opinion. Even if you score a major hit and you're like, ha, I got you, I proved you wrong, nothing's going to change. You're not going to chase them off of Twitter. They're not going to nobody admits they're wrong on social media, which is one of the problems with it. They're just going to go, oh, and
They're
they're going to
gonna
be quiet
they're gonna
and then
double
they're going
down.
to, yeah, or they're just going to be quiet for a day and they'll come back the next day and do the same crap.
Hmm.
There's no victories because it's not a real place. It's an imagined place where people just go and everybody's an alternate version of themselves where they're like way more brazen and insulting than they would ever be in person,
Hmm.
because frankly people are kind of cowardly. which is
Yeah.
why which is why social media is very appealing, because you get to not be a coward for you get to pretend you're not a coward for a few minutes and argue with people and call them names and shit. So for me it's like I don't want to engage with like negativity if I can avoid it. It doesn't mean I stick my head in the ground, but like I just yeah, I mean, like I don't talk about political stuff. I really don't, and unless it's like on a personal interaction, and even then, I'm very wary of getting into politics because it's like everybody's so conscious of it all the time that it's like, I think I talked about this on a stream. I was like, nobody's reading Black Mirror and being like, yeah, this is cool, but who did this guy vote for? It's like nobody cares. Nobody cares what I think. Like they don't care, and frankly, and I say this to everybody listening, most people don't care what you think either, and that's actually not an insult. That's liberating. Do you feel that liberation?
Yeah.
That you don't have to comment on everything that happens in the world. You can have an opinion on it, and just express condolences to people in pain, and say something nice about how you want things the a conflict to end, or you wish peace on people without being like, and I think this group of people should die. It's just like, just stop doing that shit. People need to like control their emotions. Um,
Hmm.
because it's like, I think that there's an emotional gratification loop they get from like tweeting some outrageous crap. And this goes for everybody. Like there's people who are like straight up edge lords on the both the left and the right, and it's just like nauseating to listen to, because I'm just like, not only do I know that you don't believe, not only do I not believe what you're saying, I know that you don't believe it either. You're just saying it because you want a reaction.
Oh yeah, no, no. I kind of get, I get what you're saying. I think
Yeah.
I have some old high school friends, and basically it's like, I think I have one. I know one. He's like a he was like a like brown, like basically a black gay kid, and then I basically see him kind of like posting like far right memes, and it's like, it's just, it's like it's just kind of wild. It's like Like if like he, I've never once seen him talk like that in person. But then again, we haven't seen each other in 8 years.
Oh, he's a gay black conservative,
I think he's a, like I'm not
or
sure
is he
if
being ironic?
I don't know. I don't think he's being ironic. I feel like it's like he's like a like he. There's this guy. I forgot his name, but he hold on. He his last name is Hyde. Oh yeah, Sam Hyde. Basically, Sam Hyde's an American comedian, and essentially, you know, Sam Hyde is like he also like Sam Hyde has a lot of say concerning beliefs, and like very far right beliefs, like you know um, some would call him a admirer of the mustachioed German man, and my buddy is a like my gay black buddy is a fan of him, and I'm like, damn, bro, you sure about that? Like I don't really think you know,
Which comedian is this?
Sam Hyde, Sam Hyde.
Let me look this up. I want to see if I know this guy's face at all. I'm really, really like not in touch with current popular culture. Like I don't know who the hell any. Okay, I'm googling Sam Hyde. Never seen this guy's face before in my life. Wow, some of these pictures of him, he is an intensely weird looking guy.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, I mean, it's like, and it's interesting you say like in person he's not like that at all. It's because people are not. They're. It's also possible he just enjoys the comedy and doesn't really care about the
no,
actual content of it.
true.
People are complicated. People are weird, and like sometimes it's also like even if someone has an opinion that's like really out there or like offensive, I think also the culture has gotten in some cases um so sensitive to those things and so like heavily like managed that sometimes people will go to extremes just to hear something surprising, even
Mm,
if it's horrible, which is really weird, you know. They'll be like, I just want to hear something that's like not the same stuff I've heard, even if it's something I don't agree with, you know. But
mm,
I don't know what this guy's thinking or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I would say that it's definitely true of the comic industry of how many people are just spending all of their life on social media just arguing with people whose opinion they're never going to change. Like it's just nuts. It's like it's I think social media it's like so I have a Twitter account. I never even use it. I have like 16 followers on Twitter. I don't even because nobody I'm never on there.
I feel like
All
yeah,
all
I
of my
feel
stuff is on Instagram, you know? Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I feel like I think I still go to Twitter because because like there's some good art on Twitter, but I think
Yeah.
for the most part, people recognize Twitter as kind of like it's like the app where they go and see like adult content. It's just become like a it's just become the new like quote unquote gooner app now.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I could definitely see that. It's also like man, yeah, it's crazy. It's like there's also I think it was Dave or Pose that was talking about it, where he was like he just stopped using Twitter for a while because he's like every time he goes on there, Twitter's like, hey, you want to see somebody get killed? Here's some violence, and they'll show you some street violence in some other part of the world, and you're like, why are you showing me this? This is not like Um, and the thing is, and this is like not. I'm not the first person to say this, and I won't be the last because everybody says this all the time. But it's important to note: social media really, really thrives on your negative emotion. It literally the algorithm is designed to make you angry because that's what keeps you engaged. Keep that in mind every time you're on there and you're just sitting there, looking at stuff that's making you mad, guys. It's not good for you. And these people, like, it's yeah. So I post about art. I try to look at art, and I try not to engage too much. I mean, I have my political beliefs about certain things, but I try not to engage with it that much on social media because you're getting all this information that's half truths and not real, and now that they have a whole new issue with AI, where it's like you have all this whole new obstacle of like it's even less real than you thought. It's even less real than it was before. because now there's literally material that is just can be made up.
It's
Um,
it's gonna say no. It's like now that you bring up AI, it's like I feel like okay. I don't know. I feel like AI was a bit too hyped up in my opinion. Like basically, I was told that AI was going to change the world. In some cases it kind of did, and that AI is going to have a lot of like great uses for science and technology. And in some cases, yeah. Like if I got like a scientist on here, he would basically
mm,
kind of like list a couple, off the top of his head. But it's like so far when I think of AI, I think of like okay, so basically, I'm not sure if you know this, but I think there's this one time, I think it was recently, fairly recent, where essentially there was like this no kings protest, and
mhm.
essentially the president, in response to the no kings protest, basically the White House, in response to that protest, basically they made like an AI generated video of Donald Trump getting into like a to get into a fighter jet, and essentially just he's flying over the protest and he's carpet bombing them with human feces, and it's just like I just can't like it's I when I think of the words AI is going to change the world, I was like oh my god, this could be cool. We're gonna map out galaxies. We're gonna and then next
Nope.
thing you know, nope, we're not gonna do any of that. We're not gonna do any of this cool sci-fi movie stuff. It's just it's just this. It's just
Yeah,
this now.
the future keeps being so disappointing in some ways because they're like, I mean, I remember when I was a kid thinking we were going to have flying cars by now. Like I grew up like seeing movies like Blade Runner and Back to the Future 2 and The Fifth Element. All these movies of flying cars. I couldn't wait to see the future metropolis. And then it's like year 2025 and it's like, no, we just have like AI booby stuff. Like it's just like it's so disappointing. But it also goes to show people gotta stop waiting for this utopian future that's gonna come from technology because it's not gonna come from that.
Yeah, especially since it's like I don't really think like tech bros in Silicon Valley have the best interest, like have humanity at the best interest. Like, they don't have the best interest at heart for humanity as a whole. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they don't. Um,
And I
they,
feel
they
like
they really don't care about like any of us. I really feel like they don't give a shit at all. Which is
yeah,
why I can't stand hearing them lecture people about certain things because it's like you guys are like the worst people.
it's
But
like you're over like it's like you're talking about like how much you're a better person than me. Meanwhile, you're over here, at that like taking like you're just lobbying at the you're lobbying politicians. You're essentially at the White House, just fake smiles, kissing ass. It's like
mhm.
you were trash talking this guy like like a year ago. What changed? What happened, bro?
Yeah.
What happened?
What happens is that in the end, all these guys are really they're really all about themselves and I think the fact that people place so much importance on what these guys say, I think it comes from the fact that human beings we have an inclination toward worship. So every time somebody steps into the public sphere and they're like, they seem like a positive influence, people just kind of start to worship them. They can't stop themselves. It's just like this thing that they do.
Yeah, it's
Um,
I think it's like Frank Herbert's tune, like a charismatic messianic figure is
mhm.
a like for the most part can be a very dangerous thing because it's
Yeah.
like I feel like you have like say of course you have like your Christ, like Jesus Christ, like I think like for the most part like people, of course, the people who might like debate that, but like I feel like for the most part, like this charismatic messianic figure resulted in say decent results. I mean,
Yeah.
granted, there are a lot of of course, you have like a lot of like say, scandals with the church, and there are a lot of like shameful things that the church was involved in Like for example, slavery. That wasn't exactly cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, but over to like in the end, it's like for the most part, I think people kind of like they take Christ's message and they try to do good with it. It's like for every person who has justified enslaving people with the Bible, there's also another person who has essentially freed people with the Bible. Or
Yeah,
for
that's an important. I agree with that because that's something that people forget when they talk about history, where they're like, there were Christians who were slave owners. It's like, yeah, but the entire anti-slavery party was also like Christians because everybody was at that time. So it's like you can't talk about one without addressing the other.
yeah.
But I agree with you that like there are some. I didn't mean to cut you off. Maybe you were still making a point. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I think that was just it. Like for the most part, like I was just saying, like a messianic, like a charismatic, a messianic figure. It's rare that yields positive results. That's what makes like religious figures like Christ so like special. But for the most part, it's like people who
Yeah.
try to like take that take that take that form. Like it ends with like very charismatic, no, not very catastrophic results.
Yeah. No, and I think some of it is because so David Foster Wallace, I don't know if you know his work, but he was a pretty good, I mean, a pretty great writer. A lot of people love his work. I like some of his books, but some people just like adore him. And
Mm-hmm.
he has a really good speech he gave on I think it was a college campus, where he was saying that he talks about his own faith, and he says, everybody worships something, but some things you worship they set you free, and some things enslave you. And like the things he's referenced, he's like, if you worship beauty, then you'll always feel ugly. If you worship money, then you'll always feel like you're not making enough, and you'll be, you're a slave to greed. And he's like, he just keeps going down the list, and he says the only thing that for him personally that made sense to worship was the idea of a benevolent God, because even he's like, even if I don't want to put words in his mouth, but essentially he was like, even if there isn't a God, behaving as if there is one, and that's the example that you're gonna spend your life emulating. He's like, it's still way better than the alternative where you just have to put your faith in something, and if you put it in society, society's gonna let you down
It's
because it's a fallen world.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
It, hmm. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Also, I feel like I was actually gonna ask this question. Like, it's like how'd you manage to, basically make still like print and like sell books despite the tariffs. But I feel like you answered the question for me. Like
I did send some stuff overseas, and I still do sometimes. Some of the cost of shipping has gone up depending on who's buying the book, but also I think Black Mirror One was actually the whole thing was done before the tariffs started. So I don't know how it's going to affect me this time. I don't know. I know some other people in the industry who said that the tariffs like really tore them a new one. So we'll see. And
yeah,
ever since Black Mirror One, I have way more fans than I did that are like overseas. So that's a
that's
thing that I. So we'll see.
yeah. Hopefully that's I'll pray for you on that because it's like I feel like it's I feel like like I mean, like commercially speaking, I feel like America is like I think America like is a consumer of like many products that are like that aren't made here. The current administration is like they're trying to like make I think make more stuff here, but I feel like one it's like there's like a lot of self sabotage that's been happening with especially with like the raid and like the Hyundai factory. I feel like do you know about the raid, the Hyundai factory raid?
No, no. I might
Okay,
have heard about it, but go on.
yeah, apparently like basically Hyundai back in Korea. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Then again, like I don't really think a lot of Asian people listen to me, so but Hyundai like basically like in kind of like they had a deal with like the with essentially the American branch, I think, and they were essentially gonna like invest a lot of money into essentially kind of like the creation of factories in America, and essentially what happened was they sent a lot of their nationals over to America to essentially help train the Americans on essentially kind of like running factories, making cars, but essentially ICE they they kind of got involved, and a lot of people, a lot of like Korean nationals were incarcerated, thus putting the kibosh on like $1 billion deal that could have helped in like a faltering economy in a rural area, which like it's like when you're dealing with a rural area, I think most like rural areas are like they're factory towns or they're college towns. Like they really should, they really could like use the business. They really could use the help. And I feel like
Hmm.
I mean, like any any am I wrong here, or am I just talking out my
I don't
ass?
really know, actually. I mean, you're getting outside the purview of my knowledge. I have no idea. I mean, like that sounds really shitty. I don't really know the details of it. This is actually the first time I've heard about this. The
Yeah, no.
So I don't. Yeah, I mean that sounds bad, and I don't quite understand um a lot of these economic issues that you're describing. So it's like I'm not saying I don't feel comfortable commenting. I just don't really know. I mean, like it sounds. I know some people have been really affected by that. I know that there's been some places that have been really affected by the ice raids and all that.
Mm.
But yeah, I don't really have an opinion on it. I mean, that sound. I mean, I have an opinion that it's negative for the people it was, negatively impacting. But and that's not me sitting on the fence, guys. That's actually like I just don't know about it. Like um, I don't feel that I'm necessarily smart enough to just have an offhand opinion on these things without reading about it first. Because it sounds like you've been hearing about this for a while, and my in my house we do consume news every morning, but for some reason this didn't come up. Maybe I was taking a shit when it came on the NPR.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's mostly on me. I think my dad is a huge fan of like NPR and
Hmm.
MSNBC. He likes to stay informed, and
Sure. Yeah.
basically like car rides with him, just like a lots of NPR, lots of like lots of news. Just it's like it's I look it's I feel like it's like times like these are like heavily affected and feel like I'm very impactful on artists, and I feel like just like you managed to like make a decent make a like have a decent go of it so far, like despite what's been happening on like the on a macro scale, and I kind of just find that fascinating. I'm not trying to like like try to like be a political commentator here. I'm just
No, it's okay. So yeah, I mean, this I will say that this is this is a tough time for illustrators. It really is. That's what I'm being told, is that a lot of people in illustration are like, I mean, not everybody, like obviously the people who are at the very top of the industry are like not really that affected, but I'm hearing that there's a lot of people who are finding that that this is like a hard time to get work because with the economy, certain budgets are tighter, and then at the same time you have the AI problem, and then you have all this stuff, and it's like it's been tough for some people. But um, the thing is, I've been affected by it a little bit. The AI thing. There was one guy I was doing art for who basically dropped me for AI because he was like, "Well, this is literally free." So I was like, "Yeah, I guess it is. You pay with your soul, I think." But um, it's like I don't know why you'd want art. I mean, it's just that's the thing is like people who think that way, um, they're not people who've ever made anything. Like they don't really understand why it's so crazy and why so many people would like not want to buy a product where the image was made by a robot algorithm. It's like the people are saying no, they don't want it. Like the vast majority of people are not interested. And there's like the people that they get confused because they see 50,000 likes on a post that's an AI thing, and it's like those people aren't going to buy your shit. they're taking a shit and they're like they're hitting the like button because it's free. They're not going to buy your graphic novel that was made entirely with AI images. Like that's not because they a it looks bad, and b it's like it's not exciting to people, to most people, you know. So yeah, that's been a bit of a drag with that stuff, but it hasn't affected me that much because I work in comics and because AI cannot yet really make a cohesive comic book.
Mm.
It can make single images, but then when it does, the characters look different in every panel, et cetera, because it's an algorithm trying to use a bunch of disbanded knowledge to put it together and make something. So it hasn't really been a huge threat to my job at this point, but it might in the future.
Mm.
But for all you illustrators who are looking for entry level positions and you're like, I'm not getting shit right now because there's like a number of problems. AI is just one of them. Um, like hang in there because the culture is going to shift as it always does, and the system's it's just the right now the system is trying to figure out what to do with artists because there's so many people that are like, well, I can't afford an artist right now. We can't afford a quality illustrator, um, but being a little bit of a name, like I just got in right before, I just became just popular enough before AI struck that putting my name on the book is like somewhat of an incentive for some people. um, I have a gig that I can't really announce yet. I'm not trying to be titillating to the audience, but I have a gig that I just landed that I can't really announce yet. Um, Hopefully later in the year I can talk about it, but it's something exciting that I like, can't believe I landed. So we'll see where it goes. But
Nice.
yeah. But yeah, does that answer your question? Or I mean, it wasn't even a question; it was just a comment. But yeah, the fact that I've been able to carve out a living for myself in spite of the utter chaos of this industry and the world at large is as surprising to me as it is to you.
Mm.
Um, because I mean, it's some to some extent, it's just like I'm a little bit crazy. So like, I just kept going, even though every single indicator was telling me that I needed to stop and get a different job. Like for years, it was like, you're literally, 32 and you're broke. Like that's not okay. You need to be like a grown man. You need to get a real job and stop, putting all your eggs in one basket, And then I was just like, no, I'm going to just keep doing this. And and then right before or right after I met my wife, things just started to like unfold. It just started to be like, oh, getting a gig here, getting a gig here. Oh, what's that? Oh, now I have this book's coming out, and oh, this guy wants to work with me. It's just like, everything's just starting to happen, and it took literally, I want to say, almost a decade of constant stress. So constant stress.
Mm. All right. Wow. It's yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 No, because like just like I said before, it's like you know, honestly, I thought like things would click after I paid off my student loan debt. It's like I think that's why I kind of like I finished and then I kind of felt strange. It's like kind of felt strange. It's like come on, it's like do something. I was like looking at my like after paying it off, I was kind of like it's like that meme where essentially it's like you have this character, this little drone with a stick, and he's poking at like at an object. Basically, that was just me in the like the in the like my art career. It's like come on, do something. It's like I was just I just wanted to it's like I thought if
Yeah.
I could just got that out the way, you know, then things would like think click, and now it's like of course it's the obvious like things are more complicated than that. So you know right
Yeah.
now right now I'm just you know trying to do the next move.
What do you think is the next move for you?
Well, okay, so the next move I think is well, I've been after like a Lightbox Expo. I think the one thing that I had a big trouble with was like I wanted to do a lot of things, and it's like you can't exactly be a chat like you can't be like a you can't do everything. Like if you try that, then you're essentially kind of like a you're a master of none. And so basically, I decided like it might not be like a good idea, but I think I'm just gonna focus on illustration now. Like right now, I'm painting a Warhammer keyframe. Not because I'm
Yeah.
getting paid for it though. It'd be awesome if I was. But because like it's I'm trying to get better at like illustration and rendering. I also made like connections with people who are hiring managers at like outsource like concept art companies.
Hmm.
And in 3 months, I'm planning on essentially just like sending in new work and new work. And I'm tomorrow's the last day of like the like Anthony Chong Jones membership. I still want to do more,
Hmm.
so I feel like the next move is like, of course, it's like the obvious, like get another job thing, and then of course like just keep on like just working out my rendering, like my illustration skills, because like it's like if I like it's I can do that, and if I get really good at that, then and if I accomplish like and if I accomplish so like good stuff with that, then I can essentially take the skills that I've learned from getting really good at illustration and put it to use in somewhere else and make some I'm just trying to
Yeah.
focus on one thing. That's the move.
Um, that's a good idea. I mean, your illustration work is really improving. I mean, you were already when I first met you, you were already pretty good. You already had some nice stuff there. But I feel like lately you've been really listening to the notes you've been getting from people and like internalizing them.
Hmm.
Um, you're doing a lot of Warhammer stuff. That's cool. I would say I would love to see you try to do an original IP just to like practice your creative muscles a little bit. Um,
I already I think I already I think I've experimented with that before. I think I have a script, although it is unfinished. It's okay. Basically, it's Nacho Libre meets Castlevania. I think I've told you this before, but essentially like it's about essentially Alfonso, a Mexican priest. He in order to basically feed the orphanage that's been having money problems, he basically lives a double life as a luchador. And what hap- what happens next is that a a vampire hunter that's been around since the Crusades, and who also has like a relationship with Alfonso's deceased father, comes in, and it turns out that the church that Alfonso is a like or the orphanage that the well, both that Alfonso looks after is holds a essentially kind of like a living relic, basically like it's it's a heart with an eyeball in the middle, and basically a like vampires are like trying to kind of like invade the church to get that relic so they can basically do a ritual that can create an artificial eclipse that basically so that they can essentially kind of like go around and kill and eat people without fear of the sun. And so
mm,
by when he's not being a luchador, he's fighting off vampires with with the vampire hunter. And it's like I want to tell you the entire story, but if I do, we'll be here for hours. And there are a lot of themes that go into it. I think it's a like I wanted this book to become like a very Catholic book. Like essentially, I also wanted it to, you know, the main conflict with the character is that look, of course, he has like a duty to like to the church and to the kids, but for like the longest time, he wanted to be a luchador, and now that he's finally getting some success, he he's he's considering not being a priest anymore. It's a whole thing.
mhm.
I could send you the script if you want.
So you Was it one of those things where your starting point was Nacho Libre and then you branched off into this other thing? Because if that's the case, it would explain, because the first few things you told me were exactly the plot of Nacho Libre, and then it has this other component.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, was that because you started? Because a lot of writers would do that. They'll start with something they really like, and then they'll build on it to make something new, at least in the first few steps.
Strangely enough, no, it wasn't Nacho Libre. Like it was
Hmm.
like I had this idea back in college where it's like, hey, cartels versus vampires, and the one cool visual is essentially kind of like a cartel, assassin, but with like a luchador mask on. And then, later on, uh, I thought like, hey, what's the story behind this guy? And it turns out that he used to be a luchador, and you know, he also used to be like. Then I kind of went backwards more, and it turned like my brain, like my comic book brain, is like, oh, what if he comes from like a long line of luchadors? Basically, it's like he comes from an orphanage, and there's this priest that became a luchador, and he also fought vampires, and then that's when I started like just thinking, and like that's when I started just that's when the story came up. I
Hmm.
I showed it to my sister. She helped me do some tweaks. At first, there was going to be kind of like a romance aspect, like the priest was going to fall in love with like a novitiate, and kind of like the that would be the conflict. But I think after cutting that off, I think the I'm glad that the conflict is now like more simpler, because like that means it's more like it's more kind of like complicated and intimate.
Hmm. Yeah. What's it called? If you don't mind my asking.
It's the corniest name ever. It's Luchavania.
That's not corny. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's funny.
I have like the entire. I made a painting of the
Hmm.
cover. I think I could send it to you
Yeah, you should definitely
afterwards.
send it. Send it through Discord.
All right, all right, all right.
Um, so I'm gonna go in a few minutes, but I wanted to know if there's anything else you wanted to touch upon before I head out. This has been really good, by the way. Thanks for like jumping on the chat.
What's another thing? Think. Were there any say like character flaws that you had to deal with, like when pursuing this career, like within
Oh
your.
man, that's a really good question. Sorry, go ahead. Finish the question. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, because so far I feel like I think overthinking is just one of my character flaws. I feel like I have a lot of like I think social problems. I think after Lightbox, I'm not sure if I'm getting too personal here, but I think after Lightbox, I had a little bit of like a depressive thing where it's like
Hmm.
it's like for years I have just been I've just been going to work, then going home, going to work and going home. I mean, there were moments where I did go to the Art Students League, and that was also good for me. But like I kind of like I stopped going because I wanted to pay off my student loan debt. And basically now after Lightbox, after reconnecting with old high school friends, I uh, I realized that I'm I realized how socially isolated I've kind of been. And then
Yeah.
not to mention it's like I feel like you know uh, like the relationship I have with like some family, with some of my like close family members, it's not exactly like uh, it's not exactly the best. It's like a lot of arguing, and it's like sometimes like I fear it's like if I'm ever going to like like be work for any be like work with anybody, or I don't know, like on a professional or more like a more intimate type of you know thing. not word. I don't know. I think I said. I think the wording has been wrong. If I'm going to like be involved with anybody in a more professional or like intimate kind of like
I understand. Yeah. Say the second half.
and it's like how is this going to how is this going to kind of like affect me like
Uh,
how's down the line.
how is which part going to affect you? The isolation
The
or the
isolate.
fact that you argue? Yeah.
I think arguing both. Like essentially, it's like I feel like you know I feel like for the arguing just it's like there's this like psychology bit where it's like hey like by the way the close family member is like my mom and it's like I'm afraid that it, like if I keep on like if things keep on going this way with my mom, it's like how is that going to affect any of the relationships I have with like a woman? Like, am I going to like am I going to is it going to be the same? Am I going to marry a person like my mom? Like, no offense to I'm not trying to like talk down to my mom, but it's like it's it's I mean hopefully I don't I'm not trying to turn this into a therapy session. I'm just it's I feel like it's like you're kind of like you've like you're further in life and you have more experience and I feel like you've managed to kind of like like carve out a life that you don't hate
Mhm.
and that's something that I feel like I'm having trouble with.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people in your boat, from what I understand, of a lot of young people, a lot of young men, um, women too, I'm sure. But feedback on this, right? Because I'll give it to you if you're asking
Yeah,
for it.
yeah,
All right, I'm going to give you some tough love, and for anybody in the chat or anybody watching this afterwards who disagrees, that's fine. But this is what I think, and I'm saying this with love. I want you to hear this from a place of love. All right, Jacobo,
yep.
get the fuck out of your head.
All right.
Get the fuck out of your head. Stop thinking about yourself. Start thinking about things external to yourself that you can actually do something about. And I don't mean doom scrolling political stuff. I mean, think about your local community, things happening around you that you can actually do to help other people, and think less about yourself. Because the best thing that has helped me get over my narcissistic bullshit, where I'm always wondering about, am I doing this right? Because the real question that you're struggling with is, am I doing all of this fucking wrong? That's what it sounds like. Is like every moment of every day, you're like, am I doing it wrong?
Yeah, yeah,
And,
no.
am I living wrong? Am I thinking wrong? Am I? And there's no distinction between thinking about yourself and having negative thoughts. It's literally your brain's doing the same thing. It's
Hmm.
impossible to really think about yourself for even a little bit of time without it turning into negative thoughts, because your brain wants to solve problems, and when you think about yourself, you become the problem you want to solve, and you'll never solve that problem because we are all fundamentally broken in a lot of ways. So get the fuck out of your head, start looking at the world around you and things you can do, you can be passionate about, that are moral, good, decent things that you can do for other people. Spend less time worrying. I know this is hard to say, spend less time worrying. It's like, that sounds like nonsense. But for me, the things that helped me was finding a lot of joy in working out, like doing physical stuff that forces you to interact with other people and to be awkward, to be vulnerable, and to like get past that awkwardness membrane where you're just one of a group of people doing a thing and you feel like a jackass, and it's okay and you laugh about it. That helps socially, but also find something that you believe in, that you are passionate about, and that makes you happy, and reminds you that you're not alone. For me, the thing that really, I mean, like I was already married and I already like had a pretty decent, like I don't, I'm saying this from a place of relative privilege because I've never really struggled with like depression, but I've definitely been someone who can spiral into negativity, because that's just what happens when you're smart, is that your brain just starts seeing problems everywhere. um, and that can happen if you're not smart too. But for people that are like, if you're creative, you just, I don't know, for a lot of creative people, we are prone to that stuff. We're prone to negative thinking. which I think is a result of like we tend to be more progressive and all that stuff, and it tends to spiral into negativity because it's just how we are. The thing that helps is doing things that get you out of your head. Because every time I talk to you, the impression I get from you, Jay, is that you are a deeply thoughtful person whose deep thoughtfulness is actually your worst and best quality. Like it makes you smart, and it clearly you have an interesting brain, right? But it's also holding you back completely because you're just so focused on solving the problem that is Jay, and you're never going to solve the problem that is Jacobo. Sorry, I call you Jay because I feel like saying Jacobo many times over, it's like it's annoying. But
No, no, no. I think at
so,
this point, I keep on tell. No, it's like I've told you this before. Like immigrant names. I have an immigrant name, and I keep on like trying to say my actual immigrant name, and people keep butchering it. So it's like I give
yeah,
them a yeah.
so because like my Latin brain wants to say Jacobo or Jacob, but I
It's
don't
actually
know if
quite
that's
close.
yeah, because I come from I know we're slightly different Hispanic backgrounds. I forgot what's your background.
Dominican.
Dominican. Yeah, okay. So I have some Dominican, but I on my grandma's side, but it's like a lot of Puerto Rican and Cuban and stuff. So the Cubans they tend to be more like Jacobo, Jacob. But so I just say Jay sometimes just to keep it short. I hope that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But for me it was like, and again I say I'm speaking from we have different brains. So like I'm a smart person who's also a stupid person in many ways, and for some reason I'm able to access my stupidity in a way that helps me be happy. um, Not that you have to be dumb to be happy, but it's like I I channel a kind of childlike joy at everything. So like I just think about things that make me happy sometimes, and it's like a literally like a little boy thinking about puppies, just being like, yeah, that's cool. But like the big thing for me was getting out of the house, doing physical stuff, making sure you have a social network of other people that are dealing with their own shit, and you spend time together doing things. Like that's obviously something that's not easy to find right now for a lot of people. For a lot of young men in particular, it's very hard to find social networks of other guys you trust. I don't. You mentioned that the book you're working on is Catholic. I know that you probably don't identify as Catholic, do you?
No, I was raised Catholic. I haven't been to church in a while,
Yeah,
but I still like believe in God.
yeah,
So
yeah. So like, if that's the case, and then if anybody watching this disagrees, that's fine. But this is my perspective as a Catholic. Start going to church again, man. It's not going to solve everything right away, but like approaching faith is really healing. It's like it's been really good for me. Like for me personally, it's made me way more patient. It's made me way less irritable. It's made me approach problems differently, and like it's given me a better view on world events where I'm like a little more balanced in my view. I don't get swept up in my emotion as much. It's why I'm a little bit less partisan than I used to be, where I hated the other side politically. Like now I'm like, well, everybody's trying to find the right thing, and everybody's struggling with it, and it's like, we have to reignite helpful discussion, and yada all that bullshit. It like what has helped was if you believe that there is a God, as I do, and it sounds like you do, then you have to like remember that you know there's someone out there who loves you very much. And it's like you're not broken. You're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just lonely, and I think going to the gym, going to church, doing things that get you out of your home and out of that space for a while. There's no I mean, I don't know how much time you spend outside enjoying the weather. I don't know. I think nature is a huge thing. But I would say anything that gets you out of that space where you're spending too much time alone in your own thoughts. And I think I probably told you this last time, so I'm sorry if I'm a broken record. But like the way that I find balance is like, I mean, I have a wife, and like my wife drags me out of my bullshit into the light more, because because I'm a workaholic. I draw all day, and if she's not around, I'll just draw all day, and then I'll eat dinner at my desk like a total noob troll. And the only thing, and then I'll leave the house to go to the gym, and then I'll come back, and I'm back at the desk, and it's like that. But she'll be like, "Hey, let's go for a hike. Let's go up into the mountains and walk around, or there's an event down the street. You want to go see the street fair? You want to go to the farmer's market? You want to, and But yeah, something that I do just for myself is I go to mass on Sundays. And even if you do, like, it's just, even if you feel like an idiot doing it, even if you're like, oh, this is like stupid, just do me a favor and do me a favor as someone who you have talked to for a few hours now in your life. Do me this one favor and go to mass just so that you can get outside of your normal patterns because it sounds like you get in these ruts. So you got to disrupt the pattern and even just like just the act of prayer. And I don't even care I almost don't care what religion someone is, because the act of prayer of just like trying to commune with somebody who can't talk back to you or isn't going to talk back in the most literal way, where you have to listen to something other than your own head. I think that's really valuable. But yeah, also like I said, going to the gym, that class you're thinking of doing, that MMA class, fucking do it. Fucking do it. Stop thinking about doing it and just fucking do it, because you're going to be so thankful. Even if you go home and you're so sore that you want to cry, where you're like, my thighs and my back are just killing me. Just do it, because you're going to feel so good. And yeah, that's my initial reaction. There's people with more complex answers to this, but like that's how I find balance. Because if I don't do those things, if I don't try to connect with something divine, and if I don't go to the gym and I don't do those things, then I'm just a guy who draws. And being just a guy who draws makes me shitty at drawing, because the whole point of art is you're taking something inside of you and you're putting it out, and you're trying to make it interesting and attractive. But if you're not having enough life experiences, then you're pulling from a well where the bottom is very, very high up. It does you got to have a deep well of stuff to pull from. So it's like reading history, you know, and just having life experiences. I promise you, going to an MMA gym and just getting your shit kicked in for a little bit is going to be so. You're going to feel so good. You're going to be so happy. You know, and and that balance might look different for you than it will for me. But that's you talk about how does Ryan get his balance? Ryan gets his balance by constantly doing things that make him happy. And also the last thing I'll say while I'm on this tirade and someone needs to tranquilize me is to engage with negativity less. And by that I mean like not just your own negative thoughts, which I know that's hard to shut off. Maybe I don't know how much time you spend on social media looking up like political doom scrolling stuff. Spend less time with that stuff, man. Like it's just not good. It's not good for anybody. It's making people crazy. And so I listen to the news in the morning with my wife. We both listen to it while we're doing stuff around the house, just on the radio. And then when we get in the car and I drive her to work, I don't allow it in the car. In the car, we're putting on music while we drive to work. Because it's like, okay, that's it. You had a half hour of news. You got the basics of what's going on, the good and the bad. Now we're a couple. Let's be listening to something that makes us happy, because you got a work day ahead of you and I have one ahead of you, and we have to, focus on what's happening around us now in our town. Not just because global events are important, but people get so wrapped up in global events that they're not looking at what's happening right in front of them. Like this, and this is not me bragging when I say this part, guys, is that there's like I'm looking for things to do in my town that'll just make me happy. So like there's I live in a little town, so we don't it's not like New York City where there's homeless people everywhere, but we have a few homeless people, and like I pass them sometimes and I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to go pick up some food for them and find them." And there's this homeless lady I just see her walking around sometimes, and I'll go and I'll grab her food, and then I'll find her where she's sitting and I'll just hand it to her, and just like and just like, or I'll ask her, what do you want from the store? I'll get you something. And she's like, oh, some chicken tenders or whatever, and a drink. And I'll go in and I'll just buy, and I'll make that my mission. Be like, okay, I'm going to do this for the next 20 minutes. I'm going to get her whatever she needs. Just because it's like, it gets me out of, it's also because it makes you feel good to do things for other people. It is like a huge rush of adrenaline to do something nice for someone who literally cannot give anything back. It feels fucking great. and I also do it because selfishly, it makes me feel good, but also it gets me out of my head. It gets me out of my bullshit and reminds me that what's really important is just like how you treat the people that are like 10 feet from you. So yeah, that's my long answer. I'm sorry for that, but
No. It's just,
so like do me a personal favor and do that MMA class and then go to church like 2 weeks in a row.
Okay.
Would you do that for me?
I will.
Because I see your work growing. Like your art is really good. I think you're really good, and I think every time you post something, I'm like, it's better than the last thing. So that's great. That clearly you're putting a lot of time and work into that, and that's great. But you got to work on the 3-dimensional you, which is also a you that like walks around the world and does shit and feels things, and you're not just a hand drawing. You're a person with a soul, and the art is a product of that. So just do me those favors, and I'll be thankful to you. Okay.
Okay, okay.
All right. Do you want to respond before I close out for the afternoon?
I mean, I think every stream that I do, I kind of like I do a ritual, like you know, what I do is like I thank everyone in the chat for being here, and then it's I say like, hey, you could have been anywhere, but instead you decided to be here, you know.
Yeah.
I go like, thank you. I blow you a kiss. I actually do it, and then I say I love you, platonically, of course, because like parasocial relationships are a problem,
Hmm.
and then basically I say this has been a stream, and then I exit. But I think I don't know. But I think that's I think I think that I think just I think just the get out of your head message. That's a good thing to end on. I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to address the chat, and I'm going to say I'm different than Jacobo because I love you all in a deeply invasive, non-platonic, creepy way.
Yeah, that's totally gonna end well. That's totally gonna end for all of us.
All right, guys. God bless you. I love you. Have a good one. I'll try to stream again this week. Okay.
And
Laters.
I'll be back tomorrow.
He will be back tomorrow. If anybody who's listening to this, I'm sorry, I should have given you a shout out in the beginning. This is Jacobo. He's a great artist. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. He does long streams full of introspection and art techniques, and he's a really sweet guy. He's a good friend, and go support his channel, and give him plenty of likes and attention, and really reinforce that parasocial relationship that he's trying to avoid, because I would love to see his life disrupted by your unbridled love of him.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna end up on a T-shirt,
Yay!
aren't I?
Yeah, you're gonna end up on the news, that's for sure. I love y'all. Later.
Goodbye. Okay.
Hey, man. Yeah.
Uh,
So my stream's done. Are you still streaming?
yeah, I'm still streaming.
Okay. Do you want to tell me anything before I head out, or?
Um, no, I mean, I think I'll do the MMA thing, and I'll do the church thing, and
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time out of your day to
Yeah, dude. Of course. Listen, I know I'm not always easy to schedule with, but because there's just a lot of work happening right now, and but I can tell when you want to talk, and I want to be there. I want to be a good person in your periphery, And you
Yeah, of
talk about
course.
the parasocial thing that people deal with. Like, obviously, that's a factor with every person I meet on the internet is the parasocial thing. I had I had one guy reach out who um, I didn't know him at all, and he kept talking to me like he knew me, and I was like, I don't know that do we know each other? Did we meet at a convention? And he's like wasn't saying, and I was like, okay, I gotta block this guy because he wasn't like he was being a little too cagey and mysterious, and I was like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
too easy to find out where I live. That's what I found. But I say that because like putting all that aside, when I talk to you, I feel like you're someone who you genuinely want to know what other people think because you're reaching for something, and I hope you get there. And I'm here if you need to talk, man. Okay, like
Okay.
just email me, Discord, whatever. I'll try to answer in a reasonable time. If you're having like a thought and you're like, can you just like help me kill this thought because it's not helping me? I will show up and I will kill that thought. I will beat the crap out of that thought. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course, dude. Like anytime. All right.
All right.
I'm heading out.
All right. Right. See you, man.
Later, bud.
All right. That was the call. All right. So let's go over the chat before I leave and call my uncle. Okay. So glad I caught y'all live. Serious stuff going on. Yep. 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 Sounds like truth coming down from Ryan. Yep. think I'm gonna have to set an alarm for Sunday then. Me too. I was raised Catholic and you have to do all the stuff. Communion for confirmation, confession. I think I remember. I remember my first confession. I was in middle school. I was having trouble with this kid. His name was Keenan or something. Uh, Dude was like, I think very short, but he had been pissing. Give me a second. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about. Basically, this kid named Keenan, I was having trouble with him. Like he was like he was getting on my nerves, and I really wanted to, I really wanted to kick the crap out of him. And I felt like I could, because it's like he's shorter. I'm way taller than he is. So, but then of course, like the priest like talked me out of it, and that was a good moment, you know. Then I think communion, Sunday school. There was this guy who was the head of the Sunday school, and my communion robes or my confirmation robes kept on slipping from my fingers because it was like I think faux velvet. It was slippery, and he was like lecturing me in front of my cousins. I didn't like him that much. I still don't. And then communion. Well, okay. I think this is why I say I'm a bad Catholic. I ate the communion wafer before I was ever like ever went to the communion stuff. And I had a lot of like I wanted to know what the bread what the wafer tasted like. It was on Wednesdays. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. And yeah, it tasted weird. I've gotten used to the taste, but it's like that means Christ will grow in my stomach. Well, shit. If this be my destiny, then I guess it will happen. Screw it. If that actually happens, I don't know what's gonna happen first. Am I gonna be the first then again, I am a virgin, so it'd be funny. Like Christ will be born through a virgin birth, because I never, basically the blandest stuff ever. Yeah, it is. It is. No flavor whatsoever. It's like it's the body of Christ. I didn't. I thought it tastes like I don't know, Doritos or something. No, it's same here. Same here. It's like I thought it tasted like the best thing ever, and for me at that age, it was like nacho cheese Doritos. It's like yeah, it's gonna be awesome. But no, it's like apparently it's just it's just a wafer, and then I think what else? Yes, what? I know it's funny, but communion, confirmation, confession, yeah. And then yeah, I have a big problem with overthinking. It's a huge problem, and it's something that I've yet to deal with. So yeah, I think the first thing I'm obviously going to do is I'm going to go to church, because it's the the word of God, the good news is that's free. Yeah, the pinnacle of flavor. Yes, of course it was. I sent you a link on the Discord. Oh, speaking of which, I also have a Discord of my own. just so you know. Uh, Give me a second, hold on. How to calm your inner storm, guided meditation to tame restlessness. Okay, I also have a, give me a second. Alright. I have a Discord of my own. And then, Mr. Acid, you're here? Damn, I'm about to. I think, I might end this in 10 minutes, so I think make the most of it. I think. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go to church first, and then I'll probably get my ass kicked at the MMA class. Hmm. Posted it on your server. Okay, let's see. Hold on. I feel okay. Personally, the only thing I really have a problem with is personally that I feel like I accidentally drew the eyes too far apart because I wanted to focus on the hair, then the eye, then the eyes. Since a specific way that I had to draw the eyes, I mean, yeah, I feel like you kind of you drew the eyes a bit too far apart, but it's nothing you can't fix with elbow grease and an eraser, you know. An eraser and elbow grease. If you ever need advice or feedback, feel free to reach out. All right, appreciate it. It's almost done. All right. I would have left. I would have, but I went a little too thick on the paint. So when drawing the eyes, I was like, nah, F that. I'd say the same, even though I'm younger than you, like way younger than you. I had my fair share of overthinking myself, and I had a little bit of a dwell on it just a little bit recently. I know how much hell it can be like. Ah, thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, that's something yeah. Yeah, yeah. There is a church that I haven't been into in years. Probably gonna go there. And as for the MMA, hey, cool course. I think it's like, how many bucks? I'll I'll look into that later. All right, all right. I already did. I'm 25 years old. I turned 26 in a couple weeks. I think I turned December 3rd. I think it's like, you know what? I turned 26 in a month. So, I'm getting up there. I'm pushing 30. I started taking illustration seriously when I was 23, I think. Yeah. Things are a bit difficult, but, I'm trying to get better every single day. You know what? I think I really have to call my uncle right now. I'll be right back, though. Give me a second. I apologize for this, but I feel like it's something that I have to do, and it's gonna be obvious that this stream is it's gonna take a bit longer. I was about 26. Oh, okay. How old are you, Miguel? 39. Well, you're still young, marginally. You know, still got your wits about you. You're still, not calling you old. Hopefully, I'm not. Hitting the big 4-0 next week. Man, got any? Do you have any kids or something? I know. Hopefully, that's not a inappropriate question, but I mean, like when I'm honestly, it's kind of like that. That's the life I like. That I always thought like that was gonna just a dog. Oh, okay, fair enough. You know, more cost effective anyway. All right, because like I don't know. At 40, I always thought that like I'd have like a kid and a wife right now. Not now, but like at 40. No, I'm not sure. I thought it'd be moved at my parents' house by like 25 when I was younger, but that obviously didn't pan out. So yeah. Okay. But in all seriousness, I'll be right back. I need to call my uncle. It didn't move out your parents' place until like 28, 29. That gives me hope. No right time. All right. All right. Thank you, Miguel. I'll be right back though. All right, it's different for Latin families. I think you aren't just kicked out like other American families. Honestly, I'm glad like. I'm glad I'm not white. You know, it's times like these where I'm just glad I'm not white. Uh, because like I feel like I've heard that a lot of say like white families, like the moment that they turn 18, they're out the house, and it's like I don't think I could survive. Not in this economy. Not in this economy. That's kind of a wild thing to do. You can't just kick the. It's only big in America. I mean, that's when it's like, I feel like that was kind of like a holdover from basically times where, it's like you don't leave until you're settled. All right. The Jane Doe, the ending song. I really like it. All right. They posted in the Discord. Post it in the good old Discord, Madara. And her family was very open. My wife is Scottish/French, and her family was very open. Oh, your wife's European? It's nice. Wait, do you live in America or Europe? If you only in white American families did they kick you out. Yep. I'm glad I'm not white. I am glad I'm not white. Yeah, there are people who are like self-hating, when it comes to their own race, and it's like, why? I'm from Texas, but you live in London now? Man, I am jealous. I'm serious. Granted, the housing market in London is not exactly the best, but hey, you get free healthcare. That shit you get's free. Meanwhile, next month, they're probably gonna have to basically like shell out some bucks for health first insurance. Man, what's it like having free healthcare? It must feel nice. Granted, the the waiting slots are a bit of a problem, but you know, who cares? You were used to paying a lot. Okay. Man, I visited LA, man. It's the costs there are brutal. I remember going to Lightbox Expo, and my dad, you pay through your taxes. See, this is exactly what I like. This is exactly what I wanted for like. It's like this. This is obviously like the system that you're describing is obviously way more sufficient or efficient than the healthcare system in America. I have a coworker, and essentially, like her dad got really sick. Like it was like life-threatening sick, and basically, like the hospital wouldn't let him leave until he managed to get any form of insurance because the bill for like his treatment was almost like $500,000. All right, I will listen to it. Like $500,000. Could you believe that? It's been good. I'm bipolar type 1, and I begin to get my meds on time. Yeah, no, there's a story. It's good for you, man. In America, there are dozens of stories of people who couldn't get their medicine on time. There was like one dude, he had like a very specific type of asthma. He really needed that pump, but the pump, like the cost of that pump, rose, and he couldn't get it. Like dude couldn't get it, and he had an asthma attack and he passed away. Yeah, no, it's just wild. It's the whole like this whole thing going on with Luigi Mangione. It's like I think no, he's old news. It happened like a year ago, but like at this point, you know, with Luigi, I was kind of surprised that no one got shot because of this sooner. Like no one like it took. I thought like of course, like I thought like this shit would happen like in the '80s, but no, it's like it's happening. Like it took years and years, and now it's happened. Now it's just wild. Just absolutely wild. Yeah, but no, that's gonna be don't despair and compare. Don't despair and compare yourself with other artists and their ages and whatnot. There's no perfect trajectory in life. I have a different job there, different job before that. I was no sure that I quit. Yeah, that's. I'm trying to get to that level. I'm trying to like. I quit, moved back with my parents, and studied. Yeah, I think my parents are like I don't think I have that luxury. I think for like I can quit, but I have to get another job. Got a game job, and now I live in London. Man, that is awesome. I heard some news that's band I like Baby Metal is collaborating with Resident Evil. You know what? I'll look into that. I will look into that. Being, I'm not sure about moving to a whole other country, but at the same time, the way that America's moving, shit, I might need to. Nah, it's like I'm not sure if this is just people like just talking. I quit my day job, do a little freelance job, but my firm of pyrotechnic shows for money. Nice, nice. Hmm. Listen to the song "For Me to You," which was used for the Marvel Zombies trailer, and tell me it's not like the better version of 115 from Call of Duty's Black Ops Zombies. Well, I obviously can't right now. I'm a bit, I'm a bit busy right now, but I shall. I have a question. I think I know a guy. I don't really know him, but his name was Modern Day James, and he is a animator and he did a lot of like metal shows before he became an artist. Like, did you do like did you do stuff like that, Miguel? Let's see how this. Before I was an illustrator, I worked in the haunted attraction industry, did special effects, and performed at the event. It was still a creative job. Nice. Wait, people like you worked in haunted houses? Wasn't full time illustration. All right. Wait, people still have or concept art. Fair enough. Fair enough. But you worked in people's like haunted houses are a thing year round. There was lots of construction work, making sets. Oh, okay, okay. Painting walls. Okay. Think. What was your performance like? Did you have to like play like a psycho killer or like a vampire or something? Like, what was your? What did you perform? You were the chainsaw guy. Oh, that must have been fun. I chased people with a chainsaw. It's like you popped out with the chainsaw. You also trained the actors. Oh, okay. It's kind of funny though. It's like I can just imagine like you're like a. Oh really? Okay. Type the Madara. Type the most interesting fact about vampires that you know about. All right, and by the way, it's kind of funny to envision you like they work year round to make the event happen. That's wild. So it's like you can still work in the haunted house industry. So like, but it's all leading to one event that happens one time in the year. It's like that's like some Santa's works. That's like some like Santa's like toy shop shit, dude. Like that's like that's a wild one, you know. Be right back. All right, take your time. All right. Yeah, I think they need permission to like step inside. Whole thing in Sinners. Okay, okay. muted the stream. I have an end of day meeting. All right. Yeah, no. White, Irish people were considered white. They were not considered white back in the day. I think a lot of people, fought over what was white. I think the founding fathers didn't exactly look at Irishmen or German people as they viewed themselves to be, strangely enough, like racially superior to those people, which is strange. Super strange. It's like you look the same. And at this point, I feel like this type of racism kind of would go back to like I think it all goes back to inbreeding, where essentially the royal families of these people, they would they would inbreed to keep things pure. I just feel like it's like it's they're trying to reach this standard and they're doing something that's very detrimental to do so. Well, yeah, yeah. You have to sacrifice that to finish the game. All right, let's go back to normal. All right, where's the Okay, okay. They finish it. Why fight against joy? If it gives you joy, enjoy it to the fullest. No, I have not. I have not seen the announcement. But if there is a sequel, I'm excited. Can't wait to see what they cook up. Alright, nice. Same director. Alright. God
just
damn
get
it.
more when you bundle and save at Bob's Dis-
Quiet. By the way, I voted for the mayoral race. I am rooting for the boy, Mom Donnie, you know. Hopefully things go well. You know? Sorry for the radio silence. I'm just locking in. I have evening teams with meeting with my team in LA. Man, wait. So, Miguel, what do you do now? You're obviously like an illustrator or a concept artist of some sort. Lead concept artist for Turn Me Up Games in LA, and I do freelance illustration for board games and RPG books. Wow. That is awesome. Like, legitimately. Man, I am jealous of you, man. Green with envy. I have a question. So, the studio environment, what's it like working in the studio environment? Like, what are the challenges? Like, do you like, are the people mostly chill, or like, I understand, like, I've heard that in a panel that essentially it's like, when it comes to art, like, when it comes to art, doing it as a hobby is akin to essentially like you taking your grandson out for fishing. You know, it's fun. It is. It's a good way to spend time. It's a good way to like, you know, it's psychologically like healthy because it's like for self-expression. But for like doing it professionally is akin to like, you know, is akin to like just fishing like on like an actual fishing boat where it's like very dangerous and could like, you know, could kill you. Well, not kill you, but like, you know, it's like, you know, if you're doing it professionally, it's obviously, you know, it's obviously more stressful. What is that like? Working in a concept and job position in a studio. Is it everything I have dreamed? Is it as awesome? Is it as awesome as it sounds? Mic on? Okay, it's on. Search up. Wait, hold on. Turn Me Up Games. They have also done this thing called split fiction. Hold on. Wait. Split fiction. They did that funny CAPTCHA verification scene. You're the same guys behind that? So that's awesome. Oh, your internet died? Oh, okay. What was it like? Dude, what's it like working in a video game in a video game studio? You port a lot of games to Switch? Oh, okay. Dude, I think I discovered like Turn Me Up Games. Like, I think you are behind, say, were you behind? Wait, no, hold on. That's an EA. That's an EA original. Okay, so I think you ported. Not you, but like the company that you ported. Like, it's like, I think you ported a lot of games to Switch. I think there's like Have you ever worked on any other games? Have you ever done stuff that didn't involve porting or just it? It's always greener on the other side of the fence. Once you get the job, it's greener on the other side of the fence. Yeah, it is. I already know it is, man. Like I said, I'm jealous, man. I work on internal stuff on main pitches. Oh, okay. What have you done pitches for, if you want me asking? Wait, can I ask that? Or are you under NDA to not say anything? There's always a different studio that looks more fun. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think I'll just be happy with any studio. With a studio. Or you're seeing like freelancers do their thing and they're having like... I'm a bit intimidated by freelance. It just feels like, there's a lot of competition. Random stuff that just never gets off the ground. Oh, okay. Then again, in the industry, a lot of stuff never really gets on the ground. There's like so many pitches and that go nowhere, which is a shame because like some of the pitches that have been done are really good. Like for example, they pitched like that Batman Beyond thing, and of course they turned it down, which is like, why? Dude, are you stupid? What's the... What is the more, like any memorable times any memorable like moments that you had while working in the studio? Like, have you ever went through like crunch time, or like have you ever had any like, say corporate outings, like parties or something? Like, I am super curious now. Disney took us to the Disneyland. Took us to Disneyland for free once. Man, that sounds awesome. If I were a parent, I'd take advantage of that. Just take my kids to Disneyland. Boom. Work trip. That is awesome. How'd you get the lead concept art job, if you don't mind? Once I had to crunch with my coworker on this pitch that needed an entire city to have cast shadows, so we were just painting shadows for hours. Oh man, that just sounds grueling. Building shadows. A lot of multiply layers. Just so many multiply layers. How'd you get that position? I was hired. Oh, I was hired as the art director, and I eventually stepped down because there wasn't much drawing. Yeah, I probably stepped down too. I'm just bored. I was the 4th employee hired. Wait. Oh, so basically the studio was like a small studio, and you were there at the beginning of the company? Is that what I'm gathering? I basically met my boss at a party one night, and they hired me for freelance. Okay. Then full-time. Wow. Okay. Go out to parties more. Give me a second. Sorry about that. My mom texted me. Called me. I might have to put the kibosh on this stream in a couple of minutes, because I have to help my mom out in the kitchen by getting started on the pata de pollo. Now, what is pata de pollo? Pata de pollo is basically chicken feet stew. Now, some of you might find that a bit, off-putting, but it's delicious. It's just delicious. So, just trust me on this, bro. It's delicious. I swear to God. Anyway, okay. So I basically met my boss at a party one night, and they hired me for freelance, then full-time. It kind of just worked out. I always get my jobs from networking. All right. You know what? Guess that's what I'm just gonna have to do. All right. And by the way, after the salamanders, there's more than one Warhammer illustration I want to work on. Of course, you have the salamanders here. You got the space wolves over here. You got the ultramarines over here, and then the plague marines over here. I might have to do some more work on that thumbnail. Like I said, I didn't say this, but Anthony Chong Jones said this: respect the thumbnail. You gotta respect the thumbnail. So you have to respect the thumbnail. You gotta respect the thumbnail. Getting better. Respecting the thumbnail is needed. I gotta network, need to network, or else I'll stay in a job that I never wanted forever. And I can't have that. I will not accept that. No. I will try to call my uncle again, though. You know what? Okay. I think this is where I truly leave you. I'll be back though tomorrow. Well, not tomorrow. Like tonight. I will be back tonight though. Thank all of you for coming. Thank you for Mr. Aston. Thank you to Miguel Cornalo III. Honestly, I'd like to talk to you more, seeing as how you're an actual person with industry in the art, with experience in the art industry. I'd like to talk to you more. That'd be awesome. Thank you to Madara. Thank you to Mr. Acid. I think I saw her in the chat. Could have been anywhere else, but you decided to be here. I met most of my clients through my wife. Dude, that is awesome. Dude, I'm not... You may have just bought yourself a couple minutes. What minutes with this? Like, what does your wife do? Is she also a person in the industry? Because if that's so, that rocks. I have I think in my time in Lightbox, I met like quite a few people. I think if any of you know the people the Smiley Friends, I know a person who was hired on as a background artist for that that show. It is awesome. She did season 2. Great chatting. Let me know if you have any questions. Of course, I can yeah, I still gotta go. You I can contact you on Discord, correct? I mean, obviously I can, but you're obviously a very busy man. We can schedule a call sometime. Oh, fuck yes. Amazing. Yeah, of course. I will. Hit me up in Discord. Okay. I will. I absolutely will. You can bet on that. She is an actress. Have I seen her in anything? Probably not. Like, probably some maybe indie films, commercial. Like, have I seen her in anything? What has she done? Has she done off-Broadway plays? Like TV work, stuff like that? Commercials? Oh, she does a lot of TTRPG shows and let people level up. That through them that need art. Okay. TTPRG meaning tabletop role-playing game shows. Okay. Oh, okay, there's a tabletop role-playing game show. I forgot what it was. There's Critical Role, Dimension 20, Candela Obscura, and Exandria Unlimited. Oh, you'll be in the US next week, so later, after the 13th? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, of course. That'd be awesome. She was in The Leftovers for a small role. The Leftovers, do I know that? I've never seen that show. At all. A couple of horror movies. That sounds awesome. That must be like, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's like, I don't want to be a jerk, but I feel like that's like the easiest money ever made. All you have to do is just act terrified. And then boom. You know, money. And it's easy because it's a horror film. You know? A lot of, really good makeup. But they just shot that. She was in this indie fantasy film, but they just shot that. Dude, that sounds awesome. I feel like a lot of like indie films. I feel like with how the industry's been going. She was in LA by Night. Alright. That sounds cool. I think it's like... I haven't seen it though. I've seen like she does other shows too. Okay, nice. I think indie's like I feel like, I don't know, indie's kind of like the way to go. Especially with the way that the industry's been. Mortuary Collection. I don't know what that is. Wait, Jacob Elordi was in that. Damn. She is in the Mortuary Collection? Like, did she have like a decent role, or is acting is easy and being a full-time artist, but way harder though. All right. By the way, damn, that is wild. In the Mortuary Collection, like did she have like a small role, or was she like one of the main cast? Because that is interesting. I think I met a lot of interesting people throughout my time in LA. I think the most interesting person that I've met was the hairdresser for John Mulaney and Olivia Munn. Dude, that is something I will never get over. It's like John Mulaney, Olivia Munn. You know these people? Holy shit. Like, I will never get over that. Alright. She was in the mini story that connects all the other stories. Alright. That is awesome. You know what? She was like a character in the movie. In a movie. In the movie. Okay. I unfortunately am gonna have to go though and get started on those like chicken feet, but I am not in LA. I was in LA for 3 days for Lightbox, but that's over now. Then I have a couple friends in LA, but that's as far as it goes. By the way, unfortunately, I am going to have to go to help my mom out with this chicken feed, but I really do want to talk with you, my Miguel. That'd be super cool. You're available after the 13th of November? Because if so, I would definitely like to schedule something with you. I'm not in LA, I'm in New York. I'm in New York. Let's plan something after that. Alright. Sorry for the pause. I was just looking for reference. Painting a Terminator from Warhammer is hard. But this is... Talk to you later. Okay. This is where I leave you all. Like I said before, thank all of you for joining me today. You could have been anywhere else, but you could have been... I gotta go sort out some kitchen stuff and call my uncle. You could have been anywhere, but, you know, you were here. That means a lot. Thank you. I blow you a kiss. I love you. Platonically, of course. And, I'll see you later on tonight. And, the message is, before I go, I'm saying this to myself more than any of you, but get out of your head. Get out of your head. Don't overthink shit. Just do it. Alright? I'm gonna go now. Goodbye.